You guys, I cannot even believe that I'm recording this right now, but it's the last day of Fashion Week here in Paris. It's October 3rd, and I wanted to talk a little bit about how I ended up here and made it to one of the fashion shows here, which was my rêve fou, which was a crazy dream of mine, I should say. I asked for this on my birthday, which was in the beginning of this year, 2023. I was like, I have zero idea how I'm gonna make it. I was back in my hometown, Khabarovsk, which is like super far away from here, like near Japan. I was sitting there with two of my besties, and I was like, girls, I have zero clue how, but I want to go to a Paris Fashion Week show. Here it is. They were like, yeah, I mean, whatever, you know what you want to do, you don't know how, but it doesn't matter as long as you know what. I was like, yeah, whatever. For the last couple of years, I used to seeing so many people on my Instagram kind of being around this vibe. And I was like, I really want it. Like, with my whole body, I wanted to, like, experience this in a way and see what it's gonna make me feel and where will it lead me in the future. And I already see that for myself. Basically, when the beginning of the year it seemed pretty crazy, but closer to summer, a friend of mine told me that she wants to go to a dancing competition here. It's like a competition for Vogue dancers, and she was like, yeah, it's gonna happen in the beginning of October. Do you want to come with me? I was like, yeah, that's super cool. I was back in my hometown. I'm working online, so I had like zero problems with like moving around in that sense. I was like, yeah, that's super crazy. I wanted to go to Paris for so long, and then in a couple of weeks I remembered that my actual dream was to visit a fashion show here. And it so happened that the Vogue ball and the fashion show week was all were happening at the same time, which was pretty crazy. When I realized that, I was like, oh my god, does that mean my dream is actually coming true? I was shocked. I was screaming. I remember texting to that friend of mine. I was like, girl, you will not believe this. If we go for the Vogue ball, we're gonna end up being in Paris for the fashion show. It was crazy. Like, it hyped me up so much, like nothing has for so long. And this is the thing about dreams. I have worked so hard to allow myself to feel excitement and desire, and to not be sorry for how much I want something, and to actually allow myself to fully experience that desire. And all along, although I wasn't sure if it's gonna happen or how it's gonna happen, I was like, I'm not betraying my desire. And I have been betraying my desires and my dreams for many years, and now I'm like, no, I feel so connected to that dream in my body. I was like, whatever happens, I'm not betraying that dream. I'm gonna keep believing in it. I'm gonna keep feeling that excitement, and I'm gonna keep feeling all this fire and passion inside of me. The thing about wanting something so much right now, I understand that whenever you want something real bad, it's because, and if you believe in that, you might not, but it's something related to quantum physics. It's like there is kind of no past, no future. Everything exists at the same moment, and that means that your past version of self exists right now, your future version of self exists right now. And this idea kind of helped me to understand that whenever I want something so much, it's because maybe it has already happened, and the future version of me is already living that dream. And maybe that's why I feel so connected. It's because a version of me has already experienced that. I just need to do the necessary actions, and I need to keep being fueled by that dream. But in reality, I felt like it's done, because the amount of passion and desire I felt for this, I was like, there's no way I could feel something so much and this would not lead me anywhere. That kind of gave me a lot of hope. I was like, I feel like it's already done. I just need to grow into that version of me. And I started doing all the necessary actions. Like, what can I do here on the material plane right now, being me? It was like, 3 months ago, I was like, I need to do my visa, I need to research something, I need to also work on allowing myself to experience that, because I realized that it's been hard for me to allow myself to live out the best case scenario. I feel like there are, different limiting beliefs, or just like limitations or beliefs about yourself that you hold, and they tell you that, well, how can best case scenario happen for you? Do you deserve that? Do you deserve your biggest dream coming true? I felt like I really wanted it, but I wasn't sure if I really was ready for it. So my biggest work was on allowing myself to receive that. I was like, girl, yes, you deserve best case scenario. Of course you do. Like, what did you do wrong not to? And a lot of things came up for me. But when I was thinking about the best case scenarios and all of these things happening, I was just like, every time I was teaching my body to soften into that feeling, and whenever I was kind of visualizing that during these past 3 months, I was like softening and softening and softening, and different ideas were coming up for me as to why this wouldn't happen, or why do I not deserve this, or whatever. And I was like, okay, I see that. I allow that. Like, thank you so much, this desire, for showing me all the things that are not in resonance with that, so that I can meet myself more deeply. And that's exactly what happened. I was meeting myself in so many uncomfortable places all along these 3 months. And that was really interesting. I was like, well, whatever the outcome, I trust that it's done. And what I can do right now is just to meet myself where I am and see how do I feel in relation to that dream. And this is the idea that I wanted to say, that closer to the end of the trip, when the day before I got my visa, and like 3 days before I flew here to Paris, I was like, I felt so powerful because of all the work I've done to allow this to myself, because of all the parts of myself that I've met along the way. Those parts that thought that I was unworthy, or parts that thought that it made everyone else feel bad, or that I'm too small for this, or whatever. I have met these parts, and I have grown bigger than them. Like, maybe they were big before, but now I kept growing bigger and bigger, and I kept finding a safe space for myself. And I felt so powerful because of who I have become, because I have become the person who can do that, who can pull off a trip like that after years of not traveling, after years of being back home. And I felt like I have adjusted my whole life for this. I have worked on my morning routines. I had my playlist that I listened to every day to feel powerful. I was watching movies and videos to help me feel more aligned with that dream. And I kept doing practices and like affirmations kind of like all along. I was just like, whenever I felt resistance, I kept coming back to that inspiration. I was just like, whatever the restriction I felt, I just kept coming to that desire. I was like, whatever it is, I'm not gonna betray my desire. And that inspiration, that desire really kept me going. And that's so powerful about really being connected to your body and to something that you want. And I kept connecting myself to that desire and that inspiration, and it was so fantastic. It made me feel like I am already living that reality. Even if I'm not going, I already have created that reality for myself, and it felt fantastic. It felt fantastic to feel this way about myself. And 3 days before the flight, I was like, even if it doesn't happen, it doesn't even matter anymore. I was just like, what matters is the person I have become. Yeah, I was just really, really, really grateful, and our trip here was amazing. It took us about 2 days. It was really cool. Had 4 different countries all along, and by the time we came here, it felt so easy, and the whole trip and arriving here felt so easy and so right and so correct. The restrictions were coming up before, but right now during the trip there are no restrictions. It feels so easy. It feels like, yeah, that's my reality, that's my everyday right now. It feels so easy. Like, the moment I stepped outside my house, I was like, that's the most easy thing I have ever done. And before, it felt so hard. Like, the last couple of days were so hard. Like, my last bits of restrictions were pushed to the edge, and I had to meet that part of myself that really felt like I didn't deserve all of the good scenarios coming true. But the moment I stepped out of my house, I was like, it's done. I felt it, and when I came here, it was so easy and so correct and so nice, and all the perfect coincidences and everything happening like a miracle after miracle after miracle after miracle after miracle. That's how it felt like when you get onto that last bus of the day, or you get that perfect apartment, or you just manage to do everything on time, last minute, last second, but you do manage every single thing, and everyone is helping you around. I just felt like, oh my God, that's when you pursue your passion and your desire and your dream, it's gonna be so easy in the end because you have aligned yourself with your true destiny. I don't know, and like everything just seems so right. Finally, when we came here, it was the contest of my friend, the Vogue ball. The competition lasted the whole day. It was Sunday, October 1st, but somehow the website my friend looked the time and the dates at showed a different time, so we arrived at the evening, but everything started earlier. But that was actually a blessing in disguise, because we came there and the entry costed 40 euros per person. But there were no tickets anymore. We couldn't get in, and the person who was selling the ticket and at the entrance, they just allowed us to go in for free as a gift. The energy was amazing, and also, can I say that the people in Paris are fantastic. Like, people are so beautiful and they're so fashionable. I see so many people are liberated creatively, artistically, just emotionally, and you can see that everywhere. But at the show, at the competition, it was 10 times bigger. Everyone was so crazy good looking and liberated and free and beautiful. It was fantastic. And the coolest thing was that so we got in for free for that dancing competition, and it turned out that after the competition, the venue we were at was hosting a fashion show, and everyone who participated at the competition could stay in for the fashion show. And I was like, oh my God, that's the one. Like, we stayed in, they arranged the area, there were a lot of photographers, videographers, all the people, they all sat in the rows. Fashion show started, it was fantastic. I was living my dream, and then the moment I was like, what? It feels so normal and so easy. It was just the next logical step for me. It was just the next thing. It didn't feel like something great or grand, because I knew exactly where I was coming from. I knew exactly why I'm here and why this is happening right now, and it felt so logical and so normal. And I was like, oh my God, me thinking about that 3 months ago felt insanely huge, and right now I am the embodiment of that energy I could only dream of. 3 months ago was crazy, but in the moment I was standing there nearby the photographers and looking at the fashion like row where the models were walking on, and I was like, this is it? Like, really that easy? It was fantastic. It was like some crazy, interesting, unique designer who was hosting the whole thing, organizing. Everything was really unique and a little bit freaky but interesting, and there were a lot of the Vogue dancer people, and it all felt very on the edge and very interesting and very like, I realized what that trip was for, and what that was for. It was for me to see all these people that were so at their edge creatively, the people who were competing, the dancers, the models. I was like, they're really living that passion every day, and you can feel it. You can feel the liberation. You feel liberated in their presence. And I was like, I felt so not on my edge, and I was like, if I want that to be my reality, I know exactly what to do, and I know exactly how that would feel like, because I know all these people now, and I felt that energy, and I felt how far I am from that energy right now. So before, for me, the edge was coming to a Fashion Week show, and being at the show right now, I see a new edge for myself, and I see how I want to have more creative, artistic liberation, personal liberation for myself, because really that's what life is about, is being able to show yourself like that. Put your art out like that, whether it's a dance or a fashion or poetry or the way you talk or whatever you do. And I am just at the beginning of that. I've done a lot of work to get here, but right now I see so much potential for myself in going into my creative edge and my personal artistic edge. But yeah, crazy life, crazy to understand that your passion is your North Star, your desire is your North Star. Whenever you want something so much, if you just keep being faithful to that desire and keep doing all the necessary actions and keep meeting all the restrictions that come up in relation to that desire, just you will know you are following the right path for you. It has all the best case scenarios, and your dream and your desire will lead you to that reality, because I just feel like there's something so divine and godly and godlike and inspiration and in desire, because really that's the energy of all creation. That's the energy of birthing things and creating things and building worlds and building cities and everything. And there can be so many limitations as to why we don't feel like we're allowed to want something so much, and it has to do a lot with aggression and anger and how we suppress it a lot in our lives, because the creative energy of life, the life force, the sexual energy is the opposite, is the same as anger and the same as aggression and the same as protecting your boundaries and yourself. And whenever we have that, whenever we don't allow ourselves to feel the anger and the aggression, it's when we don't allow ourselves to fight for our dreams and fight for our fairy tales, because in that case you need to do a lot of things, and you need to talk your talk and and walk your walk and really fight for that thing. But you really need that healthy anger and aggression in relationship to that. And I'm so grateful I've been healing that for so long now, that I'm able to be so connected and more connected to the desire and passion in my body, and follow that and see where it gets me exactly where I want it to get. Finally, in so long. It feels very liberating. So yeah, you guys, fight for that fairy tale. That's my message. 'Cause why else are we here anyways?
Итак, мы на автопати Вокпола, и сейчас здесь будет проходить Fashion Week, о котором мы не знали, which is fantastic, and we're staying, and it's super pretty. Ready to go!
A gente fala também.